The following book review is for the book Peak by Roland Smith. When Peak scales a Manhattan skyscraper in order to take it, he's caught and arrested. He escapes being sentenced, though, to juvenile detention when he agrees to go live with his long-absent father, who runs a climbing company in Thailand. However, it turns out that Peak's father has a special reason for rescuing his son. He wants Peak, who's 14, to be the youngest person to ever scale Everest. And his company is struggling and could use the publicity. Peak is the main character and protagonist in the story. He, who climbs the buildings, getting caught tagging the buildings, getting the chance to be the youngest to climb Mount Everest, and having to beat all the odds and even another 14-year-old trying to climb too, makes him the center of attention. The nature of the mountain is the natural antagonist to Peak, giving struggles of dangers, climbing through weather, making low altitude hard to breathe, gives Peak a challenge to trying to accomplish his goal to the top. Will Peak make it, or will he fail? You'll have to read the book to find out. The author's purpose of this book is to entertain. Mr. Smith writes this story to entertain the reader with exciting stories about Peak. He includes suspense and emotion in the book. The point of view, the position of which the narrator sees things, is first person. Peak tells the story, and throughout the story you will see the plot told from his eyes. You will also hear words like me, we, and I used as the story is told. The theme, the main lesson of the story, is dedication. Peak does not give up on his mission to make it to the top of the mountain. Even though it was not his goal at first, he dedicates himself to making it happen. Flashback is done when the story is temporarily stopped to go back in time and help complete the plot of the story. In the story Peak takes us back when he and his mom and his dad lived in Wyoming. This was an important part of the story because it explained how his mom and his dad became divorced and why his mom and him moved to New York. Foreshadowing, the part of the story that hints that something will happen later in the story, based off that event, is shown here in this book. One example in the book of this is when Peak explains why he is writing this story from the back of a truck in Nepal. That hints to us that some event is going to be told to us later, explaining how he got there in the first place. Thank you for listening to this review about the book Peak by Roland Smith and its literature elements that are shown throughout the book.